Point Marines Association is an organization that is dedicated to keeping the memory and the history alive of the first individuals of Black men who became members of the Marine Corps. So prior to 1942, the Marine Corps Commandant had actually gone on record and stated that he wanted the Marine Corps to remain a white male organization only. That means they didn't want women and they didn't want anyone else who wasn't a white male. Our president decided to sign in 1941. He signed the Integrated Services Act. I don't have the official title, but basically it was a law that said that all of our services had to be integrated, and that integration was to begin in June of 1942. So the act was signed in 1941. It was enacted in 1942. It started June of 1942. My grandfather enlisted in the Marine Corps in July of 1942, and he was part of the original and very first group of Marines that were trained in August of 1942, and they were trained at a separate camp, not at the locations at that time that were known for training Marines. The Marine Corps said that it didn't want Black men to be on their bases, so they created this Camp Montford Point. Today I think we know it as Camp Johnson, and that's where those men were trained, and they were trained there from 1942 until 1949, and they then everyone began to be trained at our two bases that are known today, which is either San Diego or Parris Island. So but the men who served during that time frame, number one, today they are Congressional Gold Medal holders. The Congress voted and decided as a whole that they would become Congressional Gold Medal holders because of their sacrifice. Serving at a time when you're being told that your service isn't wanted, they're probably they are, as far as I know, the only Marines who ever were sent into war with no weapon. Their first commissions was not to fight in wars, but they were to pull off the bodies of dead Marines. And to hear them give the story is incredible. If there are very few remaining today, but if you have an opportunity to sit down with one of those Marines who served during World War II, and they were Black, they definitely were trained at Camp Montford Point, but you talk about they were pulling off the bodies, but bullets were flying over their head, and what they began to do was to pick up the weapons of those Marines who had fallen, and they began to fight back. So when I hear other organizations and other people kind of play with the title of the right to fight, no. Our Montford Point Marines, they were the first ones that actually did have to fight for the right to fight. They had to fight for the right to serve their nation. They had to fight for the right to prove that they were just as skilled and just as capable. And they did it. So Montford Point Marines has a very special place in my heart. I'm my grandfather's only Marine. So in between my grandfather and myself, there's not one male, not a cousin, not an uncle, not a brother, anyone. He was a Marine, and I am his only Marine. And I have grandsons. I have 4 grandsons. I'm at least 2 of them. If I can get 2 Marines, I'd be happy. If I could get 2, I'd be happy. But Montford Point, has a very special place in my heart and always will. So I'm a lifetime member of Montford Point.